You have been, I think, a fairly vigorous critic of the administration and of President Obama. The Washington Post said that you've been the most vocal critic within the Democratic Party of the president.
Well, also probably, alternatively, his strongest defender as well. I criticize
the president.
Yeah, he's been a good president. Where my criticism came in is on their ability to communicate what they did. I said that this administration got outspun on health care and outspun on stimulus. Both stimulus and health care were significant positives for America, but because they laid back and had a terrible communication strategy, the Republicans turned them both into a dirty word. Well, stimulus probably responsible for 2.5 million jobs, either retaining or creating 2.5 million jobs. It was a great success. Stimulus was 40% tax cuts. The way the Republicans talk, it was $870 billion of spending. Well, it included $350 billion of tax cuts, the same tax cuts that the Republicans had called for before President Obama took office. The health care bill, it's been nothing but pluses for America so far.
Why hasn't the president gone out in the street and yelled about that? Why has he not, as you said, sold his agenda and his successes?
Beats the heck out of me. I mean, I will tell you that if we went into the street, so Philadelphia or Pittsburgh or Allentown, anywhere, and asked the first 1,000 people, do you earn less than $250,000? Yes. Did you get a tax cut from President Obama's stimulus program? I think 10 would say yes. And yet every single working American who made less than $250,000 a year got an $800 tax cut out of the stimulus program. Why didn't people know it? Because the president never went on the air. The day he signed the stimulus, he should have addressed the nation and broken down the components, talked about all of the tax cut money, talked about how extending unemployment compensation was stimulative because it gave money to those people who desperately needed to buy groceries and buy clothes for their kids. Explaining why food stamps, which the Republicans decried as welfare, was stimulative. Food stamps are the most stimulative thing of all because they have to be used in the month that they're given for. So they go right into the economy, right into the corner grocery store, right into the big grocery stores, helping the farmers. He never explained any of that stuff. And it is a puzzlement to me. When I wrote my book, Un-Wusses, I wrote a chapter, How the Best Communicator in Political History Got Out-Communicated. So my criticism of the Obama administration has been mostly that they haven't done a good job in taking credit for what they've done. Good Lord, this president took office inheriting the worst set of problems, not of his own making, any president in my lifetime. So, no, I think I would have made that case. I would have said, look, here's what we've done. We've taken the nation from rock bottom, from 0 to 70. And we might have taken it to 100 if these guys had cooperated.
When you were governor, you were presented with a bill that was a voter ID bill that would force people to have voter ID before they could vote. You vetoed the bill.
Right.
You're out of office. There is a bill still pending. Now, it doesn't apply to the election. Is there a wave, a tsunami of voter fraud in Pennsylvania?
No. In fact, interestingly, in the litigation itself, the Attorney General admitted in a consent decree filed with the court that they could produce not one case of fraud, of voter fraud, where someone used someone else's identity. Not one case. And
why the hysteria about the laws and what?
Well, I think you learned what the motivation for this law was. It wasn't to stamp out voter fraud. The Republican leader in the House of Representatives went before the Republican State Committee, and I assume he thought it was a closed meeting, although these days there's no such thing as a closed meeting, as Governor Romney's found out. And his name was Representative Mike Terzai, and Representative Terzai said, we passed voter ID so Governor Romney could carry the state of Pennsylvania. That was the sole motivation, because of let's say there are X number of people in Pennsylvania who don't have adequate voter ID. I'd say 85% of them are registered Democrats. older people, minorities who don't have cars, who don't fly, who have no reason to have a photo ID. I mean, if you don't have a car and you don't fly, why would you have a reason to have a photo ID?
Governor, thank you.
My
Good to
pleasure.
talk to you.
My pleasure.
Thanks so much.
My name is Matt. I live in Gettysburg,